Money 1055 presents Money 2.0. Money 2.0. Now, Broughton on Business. This is Money 2.0.
Good morning. Happy Thursday. We are getting close to the weekend here. Welcome to the show. My name is Michael Broughton, President and CEO of Blanket Marketing Group, and welcome to Broughton on Business. Before we get started today, let me give you some quick information on Michael Broughton and who I am. I am a serial entrepreneur. I love business, particularly marketing. I have a digital ad agency downtown Sacramento, and we focus on web design, social media, SEO, and all that good stuff. I am an Aggie, and what I mean by that is I went to the University of California at Davis. Go Aggies. And we have the Causeway Classic coming up, which we will crush Sac State. Yes, I am saying that on air, Sac State. So beware, the Aggies are coming for you. We have a great show today. I have on show today David Sobon. He is an auctioneer in town and works with a lot of great nonprofits. And also I have Erica Bjork. She is the Vice President of Marketing and Communications with Sacramento Republic FC. We are going to have a great show, and so I want you guys to stay tuned and listen. We're going to have a good time.
This is Broughton on Business on Money 2.0, sponsored by Blanket Marketing.
Marketing can be like trying to change a tire while driving down the freeway in a high-speed chase. Truly challenging and exhilarating. Attracting customers will be one of the biggest challenges that you will face as a business. At Blanket Marketing, they can help with highly certified, educated, and trained experts in their field of digital advertising and marketing. They specialize in social media. Did you know they control all of the ad content and trivia on IMAX theater screens? 916-329-8600. At Blanket Marketing, they've got you covered.
This is Money 2.0 on Money 1055. Back to digital marketing specialist, Michael Broughton.
Welcome back, everyone. You're joining us on Broughton on Business on 105.5 Money. And so we are talking today with David Sobon. David Sobon has been an auctioneer in this region for over 20 years, working with a lot of nonprofits, raising a ton of money. Just a great guy, and I'm honored to have him here today. David, I just want to ask you real quick. Let's talk about what you do as an auctioneer. Like, can you give us some insight? Like, what does an auctioneer really do?
Good morning, Michael. How are you today?
I'm doing well.
Well, you know what? It's a good question, and there's a lot of different types of auctioneers. You see a lot of them on television these days, whether they're doing their car shows or their storage wars or the antique thing. I've chosen to take a little bit of a different path up until very recently, and that was to go in the field of raising money for nonprofits. So what I do is a little bit of a specialized field, and it involves working with local nonprofits, working on their events, and showing them a plan on how to raise the most money at their event. So it involves a little bit more than just marketing. As a benefit auction specialist, I have a knowledge that encompasses more than just the auction skill. So it's a whole lot of fun, and it's always for a good cause.
So, David, you're in a specialized field. Most people don't wake up and say, I want to be an auctioneer today. Like, what influenced you to be an auctioneer? Like, how did this come about?
Well, I don't think it was actually anything that influenced me. I think it was a little bit more a matter of circumstance. I had been the president of my son's PTA, and I was a little frustrated with just the way they were raising money. It seemed like every other week there was a new fundraiser that went home. We were selling candy bars, or pizza dough or cookie dough, or C's candies. It doesn't matter. There was something different that went home every week, and I was just a little frustrated with that, and decided that I had enough business connections and enough friends with influence and friends with money that if we threw one big fundraiser, that we could make a lot more money and be a lot less intrusive to everybody on a weekly basis, as far as fundraising for my son's school. So in a nutshell, my family had been in the wine business for quite some time, Shenandoah Vineyards and Sobon Estate up in the foothills. And I begged my mother to be able to do a fundraising event up there, which they had never done before. And the formula was pretty simple. If I could get 100 people to pay $100 a head to come up to a really fancy dinner, the right people would show up, and we'd get a few things to auction off, and we'd make some money. Well, one thing that I didn't think of in that whole process was who was going to do the auction. I guess I never even put that thought out there. I just figured I could do it. How hard could it be? So that was back in the day when King's items were very, very, very valuable, where you can get $1,000 for a Vlade Divac's, signature on a basketball, and a Chris Webber jersey went for, $1 million. Not really, but it went for a ton of money. So we had a lot of stuff like that and a bunch of cool experiences. And, in the middle of dinner, I got up and I auctioned off the items. I, had a blast doing it. And at the end of the event, we had, raised over $10,000. And quite a few people asked me, how long have you been doing that? You were great. That's the best auction I've ever seen. And I kind of laughed because I'd never done it before. So nothing really influenced me. I think it was just a matter of circumstance. And I volunteered doing that for quite a long time before I actually decided to turn it into a business.
So I guess all the nonprofits out there really have your son's PTA to kind of thank for this.
Well, something, you're right, had to inspire me in the beginning to do it. And again, I think it was just a matter of necessity. And actually the next year, I did that for 2 years in a row. And the next year I hired a professional because I figured, well, I could hire somebody that could do an even better job than me. And I did. His name was Jack Young. And it turns out that he was very new in the business. And we ended up being partners in an auction business for quite some time. So I did it voluntarily, or volunteered to do it for quite a bit of time, and then decided to at some point take it and make it a business.
So you went out on your own a few years ago, obviously, and made this a business. How has the landscape changed in your field since you started and where we are today?
Well, I started that event was 20 years ago, and I think I mentioned that I had done it part-time or on a volunteer basis for quite a while. And, when the economy was changing in the recent past, there was a new focus on what is it that I'm going to do. I'd always been an entrepreneur, had run many of my own businesses in the past, was in the retail business at that point, running spa stores. And when the economy crashed, it was, okay, am I going to take this thing that I love doing, the auctioneering, and can I make a full-time job out of it? So I did a lot of research, did a lot of training, became a benefit auction specialist, and the rest is, sort of history. I ended up working with a few nonprofit clients my first year when I tried to do it full-time, and it's really exploded ever since.
So, I know that you had this experience with the PTA, which really prompted you to start doing your auction business. But what made you actually specialize in the field of just working with nonprofits? What?
Well, it's a really good question. I mean, probably because that's where I started. Most auctioneers that do nonprofit work, they're all trained in Oklahoma, and they're all cattle callers. And they can sell cattle, they can sell antiques, they can do the home thing. They have a real fast chant that they have, and the world of nonprofit auctioning is quite a bit different. It's more about the relationship with the audience. I've always been in sales, so relationship selling and being able to have relationships with your clients is make a big difference. And I think the most important thing is it's doing good for the community. It really does, and I think that's what turns me on.
So I know, we're talking about 20 years. You've auctioned, obviously, off a ton of stuff. What is the most memorable? I know you probably have one thing like, oh my goodness, that was ridiculous.
Well, it's really hard to basically nail down one thing, but I think the one thing that's most unique for nonprofits is there's a difference between the nonprofit auction and your estate auction. And in a nonprofit auction, you're trying to get unique things like experiences. And are you familiar, Michael, with what a D8 is?
No, I'm not.
A D8 is a Caterpillar attractor. Much, 4, 5, 10 times bigger than the studio. Huge Caterpillar. They use them in building roads and lakes and dams and things like that. So Tykert Company was asked by one of my foundations if we could have an experience on a D8. So I think, maybe a lot of you people out there, in Radioland are thinking a D8. Oh my God, what could you do? You could be on this thing. You could knock down a building. You could dig hole. It's basically a very, very powerful machine that nobody would get a chance to rent because you don't have the ability to rent something like that, just being an average person. So having something that's really unique like that, a unique item like a ride on a D8 went for a ton of money, over $1,000 if I'm not mistaken, for just an hour on a D8.
So David, we are going to actually take a call here. We have a caller on the line, Ray. Has a question for you. Go ahead, Ray.
Hey, Ray.
Hi, thank you guys for taking my call today. I work with a nonprofit, and we're discussing doing a dinner and an auction to raise some money for our nonprofit. I don't know where to start. Could you help me out there?
Sure, Ray. Thanks for your call. A great reference place is to go to my website. There's a lot of information on there. It's davidsobon.com, and I might add that the brilliant Michael Broughton and his crew put that website together, and they did just an amazing job. And it's very informational. There's really nothing to buy on there. It's a information site that will give you a lot of resources on how to get started. But there's a lot of steps. I mean, and the first one really comes with how much money is it that you want to raise. And it doesn't matter to me whether you tell me $10,000 or $100,000 or more. I have the ability to put together a plan and show you a step-by-step a whole laundry list of things that you would need to do to be able to achieve that goal. I can tell you whether that goal is reasonable or whether it's unreasonable in the first year by basically, going through a series of questions and interviewing and find out a little bit about your nonprofit. When it comes right down to it, I don't think any goal is unattainable as long as you have enough resources. So another thing that we do with our company, other than just being an auctioneer as a consultant, is we teach you how to go out and develop those resources to put together a successful event.
All right. I will check it out. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your call, Ray. So David, tell me, I mean, you obviously probably work mad hours because I know that you work with a lot of events, and I see that your weekends are pretty packed. I would probably say Thursday through Sunday you're on stage doing a lot of stuff, and so you still find time to involve yourself in the community. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the organizations that you're active with and some of the stuff that you're doing? Well,
yeah, thanks. I appreciate that. I think it's really, really important for everybody in business is to take a look at, how can you help other people? It's just not all about me. And taking the time to give back to the community, I think, is important. You did forget Mondays because during golf season, I'm in a golf tournament every single Monday too. So it's literally a Tuesday, Wednesday kind of thing off, and that's usually a good time to meet with clients. But yeah, it's been, we did actually 75 auctions this year.
Wow.
Just for local nonprofits. So yeah, finding the free time can be difficult, but I've made a commitment. I've been on quite a few different boards before. Sacramento Child Advocates. I was a board member there in Elk Grove first, a founding member of the Chevo Foundation board as their president, and currently with the Children's Miracle Network. I think a lot of it just has to do with find out what you're passionate about, whether it's kids issues or art issues or health. Find out what you're passionate about. Once you go, here's the greatest trick, and it's not really a trick. It's just the way that people get involved in these things is go visit, go spend some time out there. I get invitations from nonprofits. I got a phone call, and I'll give a little shout out to Habitat for Humanity. They're interested in doing an event just like Ray was. So they called me. They've heard a little bit about my reputation. And so what they're going to do is they're going to have me go visit their place. And I know once I do, I'm in because I'm going to see the good they do. It's not like I don't read about what they do and I don't have a general history about them. But once you actually go take a tour of the facility for the nonprofit that you're thinking about working with, the rest is kind of history. There's just so many moving things and so many great stories. I think it's the story aspect of these nonprofits that really get you kind of turned on and get you involved and get you engaged. So it's a matter of life. I think I would go crazy if all I did was just work. I'm very fortunate in this business to be able to have a couple of month period of time when it's not auction season as far as nonprofits. So I'll have a good downtime in December and good downtime in the middle of July. But other than that, lots of nonprofits.
So I have to tell you, David, obviously I'm heavy into social media and stay engaged. There's been a buzz going around in social media the last couple of weeks in regards to you raising a ton of money for a nonprofit recently, and the numbers were staggering. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, there could be it could be one of a dozen different little success stories that we've had recently. But at the American Leadership Forum exemplary dinner the other day, we raised, I believe it was close to $50,000, and it put David Sobon Auctions at breaking the $3 million mark this year.
Wow.
So that was quite a bit of money. I mean, it was basically $2.1 million last year, and I still have a half a dozen events to go, so I would imagine that we'll raise $1 million more. But I think the event you might be talking about was the March of Dimes. I have been very fortunate to work with their group for the last 3 years. I know that you've been involved there also, but it was a dinner that honored 18 of the best chefs in Sacramento. It was it was one of those events, one of those gala type events there was a whole lot of fun, very, very well planned out, and it goes to basically show you. When you have the right people in the room and you have the right plan put together, the potential is just unbelievably unlimited about how much money can be raised in an event. John Frisch, a local realtor, very well known, did an amazing job as the committee chair of bringing the right people in the room. And we auctioned off, I believe it was 16 different specialty dinners with chefs. And these weren't just, we're going to the restaurant and we're going to go eat dinner. The chefs were coming out and barbecuing in your home or bringing a lot of guests or doing special wine pairings like the Firehouse Restaurant and the Grange and 1022. The list goes on. And Taro for Mukini's, as a matter of fact. I mean, we sold, Taro was going to come out and cook dinner at your house, chop up and do a sushi thing and have a little sake tasting. And we sold the dinner for $5,000 for 8 people. And that's just one of many success stories of that evening. We ended up raising $175,000 in one evening at a live auction for a great cause.
Impressive, very impressive. So we're all familiar with the signature chant, I would guess, that the auctioneers normally do. I'm not going to do it because I'm not good at that. But 11, 11, 11, 11. Was this like a natural gift, or did you have to teach yourself kind of the art of talking that fast with a?
You know what? It's a good question, and I'll be the first to tell you I've never been trained as an auctioneer. So all of my experience comes from my experiences. I have 2 other unbelievably well-qualified auctioneers, both Connor McGowan and Patrick Hume, that work for me. And they were both trained. They both have formal auctioneer training, and they have that call that you're talking about. That it sounds like you're selling cattle kind of thing. But they've expanded. They work very well doing estate auctions and estate sales, and they've expanded, and they're very good at doing nonprofit auctions also. But theirs was trained. Mine was basically, I can say some of it came from listening to other auctioneers, but I think it was just something that came naturally from just loving to be on the stage and loving to help these organizations. So I think if you had to say the biggest difference between a nonprofit auction and one that was selling stuff, an estate sale, is the chant. In the nonprofit world, it's more about engaging with the audience. And you're right, I can talk really, really fast when I get up on stage, but I think it was basically just more of a learned skill than anything else, because it's really more about describing the items and making sure that people want to give. Getting people wanting to give is a little bit different than getting them to want to pay more money or get a great deal on an estate item.
So what you're telling me is you don't know how many words you can say per minute.
I need nobody bid of $100,000. Got 100,000 here. I need 150, 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, 500,000. You know what? I guess it's a lot. Would have to be the answer.
So, David, you are currently planning the biggest auction to hit the Sacramento area. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
You know what? I am really excited to tell you about it. It's actually called I Got First Dibs. when you're in the playground or you're out here, you got first dibs on something, right? And a lot of people, they kind of use that language in the auction world is they want to be there first, they want to get first dibs, they want to have first opportunity. So Audrey Wells from the House of Fringe, which is an unbelievable retail store out on 21st Street, came to me, and she had purchased the estate from John Catay. It was all of the furniture and all of the lighting and the specialty and collectible items that used to be at 21X, an amazing store that was on Broadway. He also had another one in San Francisco. World-renowned collector of all this mid-century modern, Art Deco, Art Nouveau, antiques. Just really curious and cool and odd and weird and funny stuff, to be honest with you. Well, she contacted me. She had a mission. There's 15,000 square foot of this stuff, and more than she could sell in 20 years out of a retail store. So we figured the best way to do this was have one huge auction and have a preview party the night before. And the preview party, what's kind of interesting about this that I don't think has been done for an estate sale before, and it benefits the Sacramento, the Arts and Business Council of Sacramento. Michelle Alexandra well, an unbelievable organization. I was lucky enough to actually be honored with an award from them this year. But they're going to be the beneficiary of this event, and it's basically the preview party for First Dibs. It's on Friday, December 6th from 5:30 to 10 o'clock. If you buy a VIP ticket, for $50, you get in the door at 5:30. There'll be fabulous food and fabulous wine and drinks at no charge, and you will have first dibs on basically buying any one of those items before it goes to auction. So I think the excitement behind that, Natalie Pecorelli from Pecorelli Productions, who's done great stuff with the opera and put on some of the most beautiful events in town, is working with the Sacramento Arts and Business Council. And there'll be all these little different vignettes of all the different furniture and things arranged in different areas so you can see what it would look like restored or in your home. The general admission kicks in at $10 at 7 o'clock that night. So we anticipate there will be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people that will want to come and take a look at this 15,000 square foot amazing collection of antiques and curiosities and architectural treasures from this past century. It should be a whole heck of a lot of fun.
So David, well, first of all, everyone out there, please mark your calendars for December 6th. It's going to be amazing. So, David, I want to close with this. Tell me the benefit of hiring an auctioneer versus just kind of doing the auction on your own.
Well, it's going to come, the major benefit is the benefits, is the results that you're going to get. The results is how much more money you're going to make. There are some great volunteer auctioneers out there, but they really haven't been trained on how to maximize profit. And what we do, our company, does more than just jumping up on stage. We really teach you on every step of the way on how to make the most money as a nonprofit. And the same thing goes with the estate sales. Connor McGowan has done hundreds of estate sales. He is my latest hire, and we will be doing estate sales through from here on out, starting off with this biggest fringe event. But use your resources. There's lots of great stuff on the internet. There's lots of great stuff on my website. Pick up the phone and give us a call, and we'd be happy to help.
And the phone number is?
It is 916-730-3330. 916-730-3330.
So, David, I want to thank you for your time and just want to make a note that I have had an opportunity to sit on some boards and work with you in the capacity of raising money for these boards. And I will tell you, for all the nonprofits out there, it is so worth having a professional auctioneer take control of your auction and consult with you and really make sure that your organization potentially raise the money that it deserves. And no one does a better job in this region. I'll even go as far as saying the state than David Sobon. So I encourage you to call him 916-730-3330. And please please come out to First Dibs. It's going to be an amazing event, December 6th. Like I said, it benefits the Arts and Business Council for the pre-party, and come out on the next day. Come VIP. You want to come VIP to this event. There's nothing like it in town. Once again, thank you, David Sobon, for taking the time to come out and talk to us a little bit about what you do.
Thank you, Michael. I do appreciate it. And you can check out First Dibs Auctions if you want more information about the event that's coming in December.
FirstDibsAuction.com. FirstDibsAuction.com. Thank you very much, David. Thank you for coming out.
This is Broughton on Business on Money 2.0, sponsored by Blanket Marketing.
Marketing can be like trying to change a tire while driving down the freeway in a high-speed chase. Truly challenging and exhilarating. Attracting customers will be one of the biggest challenges that you will face as a business. At Blanket Marketing, they can help with highly certified, educated, and trained experts in their field of digital advertising and marketing. They specialize in social media. Did you know they control all of the ad content and trivia on IMAX theater screens? 916-329-8600. At Blanket Marketing, they've got you covered.